Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special episode on ETGCCWorld. And today I have with me Balazs, CEO and President, EPAM Systems. Better known as FP, he took over as the CEO last year and now leads the company's AI native transformation agenda. Over 2 decades tenure, he has held several senior roles at EPAM. As first CTO, President of the Europe and APAC markets, and President of Global Business and Chief Revenue Officer. FB, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So, FB, tell us first that as we have seen and we know that as organizations move from AI adoption towards becoming AI native, that's the new word that we are hearing. What does that transition really mean, and what does that journey look like for you?
I think what's an interesting point, everybody thought in the beginning you're just acquiring all these AI licenses and software. It's what it means, AI adoption.
Right.
Everybody said, okay, let's go out and let's train everybody. Let's do the AI literacy, and it's going to be enough. But what's really people starting to understand today is that going through an AI native transformation, which is the really when you're really making sense of really adopting AI, really changing and actually getting the benefit, not just the cost of AI, which is we all realize by this point that there is a cost associated running with AI. You need to really change the process. So for us, what it means is that we not just have to change the way we get work done for our clients, but actually we have to change the way we are operating as an enterprise. What do we do? How do we change how we go to market? How we change and train our business development team or account teams or sales teams, how to approach and actually use AI in that process, or people's team or finance team, how to make that change itself. And then when you are doing the delivery, how do you are maturing the engagement for going from very simple ad hoc type of adoption, which was the beginning, like people install the software and when you feel like it, you use it, how you actually put it into the system and how you make it the delivery, how you actually delivering the value, the difference using AI, which is we call it level 3 AI-based disruptive way of going through it. And for us, the AI native transformation is how you actually go through this across the enterprise. Because all of us have all these old processes. All of us have people with the backlog, with the technical debt, what we are carrying, not in terms of just in systems, but in process with people with knowledge. And how you systematically go through this and process by process, engage by engagement, department by department, person by person, making the transformation happen and go through that. And that's a very, very difficult change process.
How difficult is that, you mentioned, because especially with legacy systems and all, becoming AI native is not an overnight task. It takes time, right? So how difficult, in your opinion, is it? And how can organizations overcome that?
So I think it's a super difficult process because it's complex, right? And complexity comes with all of us are running large organizations, all of us having loads of people working. And in the beginning, it's very easy because you have the early adopters who are ready to take on everything, adopt to this. But the technology is changing, right? It's people get exhausted from the change. So you need to start having a plan, how you are selecting the champions in every business domains, every department, every function, who are continuously pushing. What do you do? How are you actually organizing? How are you organizing the training program, the adoption itself? And you need to adopt it, not just, all right, I'm going to use cloud code or I'm using this product or I'm going to use that product to make it happen. How you customize it, how you make it exciting, engaging for all the different audiences. And this is now we're just still talking about our existing organization. But then you need to start adopting it for the training programs, because all of us shouldn't forget that we need to onboard freshers, juniors every year. We need to go out and we need to prepare them for a different new environment. So this is a multi-year journey, which it's a marathon stepping into. And if you are coming from a large organization where you have maybe decades of experience, decades of legacy, which you need to transform, you have decades of processes you need to push through. So for us, what really happened is that our delivery organization or IT organization pushed ahead, right? Why? Naturally, because you are a software services organization. You are actually focusing on the client. You need to really deliver using AI. But what you very quickly find is that in order to really deliver to the client using AI, you need to transition how you are doing interview, how you are actually doing your HR processes. What do you do with the finance? How are you factoring in other elements which is new, tokenomics? How are you factoring in managing a new interview process? Because in the past, we were so keen on detecting everybody not to cheat, quote unquote, using AI. But that was the last time when you actually judge somebody's performance without using AI. So why are you hiring? Why are you thinking that using AI is a cheat? Actually, you should be judging people, you should hiring people, or do they have the ability to really use AI the most effective way? And this type of thinking, going through the organization, is a very, very difficult process because the organization get exhausted from the change, the level of change you need to push through them, and you need to go and figure out what are the, I would say, the holdouts, what are the places where people are not yet adopting to it. And this is just the beginning of, because now you're still automating, transforming the existing process and not yet actually formulating the new types of organizational dynamics which you need to bring to life inside the organization. So I think this is a very, very difficult, but something which must be done. And you have limited time when you can do this, because eventually the gap between you and the frontier where you need to get to is it became so wide. It's actually maybe easier to start a new company than try to transition the old.
Well, that's a new thought. But of course, I mean, we are seeing that the conversations are veering from usage of tokens to the outcome-based conversations now, and everyday things are changing. So you need to keep up with the changes every day. So in case an organization has to prioritize areas that matter the most in terms of becoming AI native, what would be your suggestion?
So it depends where you are standing in the adoption itself. I think what we are saying is that first you need to start prioritizing education. Okay. So this is where we started from. You need to achieve a certain level of familiarity, I would say literacy with AI, that you can actually start intelligently discussing these points. Because you mentioned tokenomics, token usage. Imagine if your organization not yet even fully understand what tokens are and how can you have the conversation really going, and how can you really factor into your next year's budget the cost of tokens? Because let's not kid ourselves, our 2027 budget, tokens will be a significant element into that. But you need a finance department where you can actually have this discussion with. If you cannot have that discussion, you ain't going to do the adaptation itself. So we started, and I suggest everybody to start with education. Start with permeating the organization with AI, right? You need to take that cost. Maybe you're not going to get the benefits of AI fully, but you need to make sure that everybody fully understand what does this mean, experiencing themselves. I think all of us are experiencing at home on the private devices. You wouldn't find anybody who doesn't have a ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini not running, or some people are running some of the Chinese models or Open Claude in their devices. So we need to have this one done. The second, which is super important in my experience, is you need to make sure that your board members are also starting to be fluent or understands AI. Otherwise, try to get the budget approved, and where again your board is not familiar with some of these concepts. So this is the priority. Then where I think we're always starting is, again, clearly education is important, which means HR. But I'm always going back to how you get work done to your clients. You need to be able to retain, especially in this industry, revenue, right? In order to do that, you need to focus on the places where people are really asking for, let's call it the discounts, right? Where you have to deliver the cost efficiency. I would start, if you want to go at how work that gets done, in the call centers. I would look at business process outsourcing. I would look at where can I take AI into the space in the IT and IT operations. We started, because we don't do BPO, we don't do so much call center in the beginning, IT operations. So we started educating first internal IT, how to figure out how to use it in the internal IT, and how we're actually doing internal product development. So experimenting on self. So literacy first, then experimenting on yourself, which is client zero mentality. Then based on those learnings, you can go back to your clients and see if you can do low risk work and do the changes over there. Then actually what I would call dog food eating yourselves and bringing advantage to your clients. That's the way you gather experience. But at the same time, you need to bring the whole organization with you, the board, the education, which is your junior program. And then you have to figure out what do you do, what we call the silent middle, right? Which is your probably the mid-management layer, who are probably the most resistant to this change, and explain to them that this is probably going to be your last job where nobody asks about AI during the interview process. So how about you do something about this? And actually, even today, when I had a town hall, we encouraging our people that you need to go through this process, not for me, but for yourself. Because the next time somebody is going to interview you or you want to apply for a job, you better have all these certificates, all this knowledge, all this experience with you, because otherwise you're not going to get the job.
True. And you talked about talking of finance and convincing people, because the ROI is not that apparent for adoption of AI. Probably that was the case, but is it becoming more evident now?
So I think there was this interesting period, right? So it was between somewhere early autumn 2025 to 2026 April, when the models were capable enough, but still we were on subscription-based pricing.
Yep.
That was the moment where ROIs appeared for certain cases. We had a client who were able to do call center automation fully. We were handling hundreds of thousands of calls. There was a client where we were doing marketing automation and using it. So there was a brief moment of 6-7 months where ROI was easy to accomplish if you were good with engineering. Then from April on, ROI is very much gated, because you need to understand how you handle context, how you handle the tokenomics, how you get the best model usage out of it. So now ROI is still out there, but accessing ROI requires finesse, requires you to make, I would call it choices, intelligent choices between model, hardness selection, tool selections, and to be able to access it. So today, I think getting the finance done is actually requires that you need to explain how you're controlling this, how you're getting access to tokenomics, and actually delivering this message to the clients, or if you do it internally, to your stakeholders, to your board, that you know how to control the cost. And even as I'm controlling cost, I'm actually getting the ROI. But now you have to make choices. Now you have to say, okay, this type of task, job, cannot be really, really automated, or can be automated, but I need to control it. Or I can automate it, but I cannot use the frontier models. I need to use one of the open source model or a cheaper alternative. All these things requires more deliberation, right? You have to have deliberate activities, and you have to make conscious choices what you are actually doing in order to make this happen. But I think the proof is out there. You just need to get a bit smarter.
And if I connect it to what you talked about, education, so it's not a low-hanging fruit that you talked about. It was actually a structural change that you talked about. And if you put that structural change there, then probably when the things are changing, it becomes more better for organizations.
I think so, because, I mean, if you think back, is that how there was a brief moment during. So for all of us who have kids, right, we're seeing our kids are using the internet, the tools, the social media very differently, right? My son grows up using, in the last 3 years, AI, right? Now think back, is that that's basically represents 1/6 of his lifetime using, he's 18, 1/6 of his lifetime he's using AI, right? That's a huge amount of time, right? I cannot even want to tell you how much is one sixth of my lifetime. That's going to be a lot, right? So that's a huge experience. For him, it's very natural by this.
Right.
Very quickly, we're going to see kids who went through the full higher education period of time using AI.
Yeah.
That means very different habits. That means very differently how you doing that. We think about searching for information. We use a search engine, probably Google. For them, drafting a letter or going through and actually accessing information is going to be an AI model. That creates new habits. That creates for them naturally a different way of accessing and actually get works done. You don't need to change it. But if you now structure it into your educational program, you will get AI native engineers who are, let's call it freshers, juniors. Now, if you give them the right capabilities, that's very different. Now you're getting very new, fresh blood into the organization, people who are going to do and get things done very, very differently than let's call it some of the senior people you have in your organization who you need to really force them to use AI, because actually the work habits, the workflows, what you're using, how you are getting things done, it's where it's forms, right? And you have those work habits formed probably when you are in the 20s, maybe low 30s of your lifetime. After that, it's changing that. It's a constant and difficult. And I think if we keep going back and saying that only senior people can use AI, that's not a good way. Yesterday, I was with training and building or next talent, and or graduating class was actually presenting to me, right? So this was the February class, right? I was joking to them that they are being decanted as a fine wine today after 6 months. But what they built was amazing. They built an AI native solution. They built very sophisticated solutions. They used AI models. They were using swarms of agents. They were actually taking advantage of the capabilities, coding models, for building a solutions, building a new operating IT solution, how you operate it. And they demonstrated fluency and capability, which I would argue it was, a couple of years ago, you wouldn't see from a graduating class, but they built it. Why? Because they have the tools, they have the capability, they have access to cloud, they have access to Claude, and they were able to put something together, which I think it's very, very exciting. And when you see this level of sophistication, because you give them the tooling, you give them the structured program, they understood where to go. They clearly are listening what we are saying, but also listening to the podcasters. They're listening to the right people. You get a very different talent, and that talent is available. And we shouldn't we shouldn't just let it waste, right? We should embrace it. We should give them a place to nurture. And when they join what we call production, when they are becoming part of our billable team, that's when they can deliver amazing things for our clients and for ourselves.
Yeah, of course. And that sounds so promising, when youngsters are taking, using all these available tools, and they have the exposure to knowledge also, which is available all over the internet. That's fascinating.
And they are not afraid, right?
They're not afraid, of course.
They have different workflows. They are reaching out. They're trying on things. They are no longer inhibited by some of the, let's call it, old types of workflows. So they are just innovating. They are coupling things together. Maybe you need to teach them how to take control of the budget, the cost, or maybe they have some of the other capabilities which they are missing. But they are putting things together, and it's very energizing, right? They are super optimistic. So sometimes you would call them naive, but that's good, because with naivety you get credibility, you get creativeness, which is brings. And I think what we need to make sure that we tap into this, and we are tapping into it. We are investing quite heavily. Actually, super exciting. I think a year ago, I was talking with Srinivas, who runs our India delivery, and we were asking, okay, where are we going to use all those juniors? And we found out that with the right education, not just that we have the place for that, the clients want it. Our clients are actually looking for, can you actually build this capability? Because it's so refreshing what they're bringing. And they are, with the right education and with the right push, these people are going to be not just able to deliver more than some of our seniors, but you see that the excitement for them to get certified, excite them to actually step into and push into this. And we are seeing that in our certification program, we are running the Anthropic and we're running the Google Gemini certification program. So many of our juniors are able to step up. That's just so amazing.
That's fascinating to hear. Every last question, so we started with, that organizations are moving towards being AI native now. As they might progress towards this AI maturity and move towards becoming, AI native, as we spoke about, how can they put the right governance in place? Because that's very important without slowing that journey.
I think that's very interesting. This is where I think it's not an easy answer, right? Because AI governance is something which is probably lagging the innovation itself, right? And in the beginning, everybody was talking about data governance, right? And data governance and AI governance go hand in hand. So I think somehow, and which is so exciting because it's in the last weeks, everybody started to talk about this. So AI governance is going to be synonymous to the data governance, where in the beginning, we always talked about in the data governance space that you need to push and integrate data governance away from the more like committee-based solutions and integrate it back into the data contracts, integrate it back to the foundations and actually be part of it's more like a programmatic solution. This is where we need to push towards, right? What does that mean? It means that you need to understand where you need to build data products with the right data contracts. That makes it a little bit easier to actually then do AI governance. And then you need to put, with AI governance, you need to put AI orchestration layers in place to actually care about where can I do inference, handle tokenomics, the financial operations around it, actually tackle the cyber risk. So actually understand where can I execute, where I'm not able to execute. With the data products, you are actually need to start capturing with where can I do processing. And in the past, it was more about locality and who are the processing partners. Now it's going to be where can I do inference, where I cannot do inference. Is there any kind of restrictions do I have? What models I'm using? I need to have organizational guidance. And then also going to be inside the organization, I need data and actual process guidance. Where can I do that? It's very reminiscent of the early days of outsourcing, right? In the early days, everybody was so worried. Can this workload go to India? Can this workload can I onshore it? Can I offshore it? What can I do? We need to have it built. I think the platforms are just appearing, right? We are building ourselves. I think all the large players are building one because the technology players are building one. And in this setup, right, you are going to be caring about blast radius of agents. You will care about tokenomics. You'll care about where you can take the workloads. You will care about where can you do and what models you can run the inference. Then you need to care about drift and capability of the model, quality execution. So this is a new field. I think clearly all the large players, Microsoft, Google, everybody building one. And it's going to be race, right? Because I don't think there's going to be too many orchestration layers inside one enterprise. Maximum, I think it's maybe two, but probably it's only one. Only one will remain. One rule. It's the one ring, right? One rule them all. One binds them. And I'm not going to say the full verse, but the point is, all these things are coming together very, very quickly. Because I think what's happening now is organizations just realize that A, it's out of control, in most large organizations. B, it's a cyber risk. C, it's actually a huge amount of cost. We need to somehow govern it, but you need to control it. And people just putting in place this kind of solutions. So it's evolving, right? So it's coming from data governance, it's going to AI governance. AI governance going to start including other things which we had in the cloud space, because in cloud we started to talk about FinOps for the cloud itself. This is combining, but it's lagging from the capabilities, and I think it's very different, very visible right now.
Yeah, you're right. Well, as you put it, and people say that when AI comes, probably we'll need to think less, but I think it has made us think all the more that how it can be used to get better outcomes.
I think AI is free up thinking, right? You're going to experiment more, right? So what's happening, I believe, is that AI is freeing up your hands, quote unquote, because you don't need to code that much, but you need to engineer more, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually, you need to think more. You need to, you have more creativity, you can try out new things, but you need to very quickly decide what to stop, right? You have more freedom. With more freedom, you need more governance. With AI, you need to figure out you need to clean up your data. That points back to governance again. I think we need to rethink how we deal with some of these things, because AI is not, once you're removing humans from the loop, let's call it this way, you need to document more, because not less. Because now you need to move what tacit knowledge, which all of us are carrying out in our heads, or tacit knowledge which was scribbled down on in notes, or as the processes are drifted, and you have post-it notes on processes, all these things needs to be redocumented. We need to recapture it as we dealing with agents, and now we are letting data and giving it to agents, a data which was never structured, never built for agents. So it's okay, now we need to fix the foundation. So all of this is becoming more and more activity work, and we're using tools which was in the past never really designed it, right? So if you want to be very technical, in the past we wanted, people opened up MCP servers, which is Model Context Protocol. Give it to the AI. Great, except now you're exposed to the AI to data which we never had before, we never structured for AI. As you're exposing it, you're actually creating more and more problems, but definitely you are exposing data which were never supposed to. You don't have the semantic layer. So all these things are things which people have to fix. All these things which not just we have to fix in GCCs, or we have to fix the service providers, but our clients have to fix. And some of them have probably, I don't know, they have decades of data which they're hoarding together, and now they are just exposing to the AI, and the AI is basically say, I don't know what to do with this, and there is not that much here. So you need to do a lot of things around this.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, FB, for speaking to us. Really and it sounds like, the famous song, times they are changing, and we need to adapt to it, right?
Absolutely. It's very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, FB.
Thank you.